as Chris Fennell, and he's also undefeated, as with everybody else at this table. They all went 9-0 yesterday. So let's take a look at Pascal and see what he drafted.
About a month ago, Pascal was in position to qualify for the World Championships as the Grand Prix Player of the Year. Currently finds himself in third.
Randy, check this out. All right, the focus is going to get fixed a minute later. So Pascal opened Mole Drifter and that Etch Champion.
The Monstrosity?
Excuse me, Etch Monstrosity.
Right, so he's in the 7 seat. He's 2 to Chris's right.
Yes, because Chris got that Etch Monstrosity third pick.
Yeah.
So clearly he's going to take the Mole Drifter here, then, right?
Mole Drifter's awesome.
Love that card.
So good.
Used to be a Mythic Common. Got upgraded to a Mythic Uncommon.
Yeah, it's an easy Mole Drifter, right? Yeah, Pascal, I haven't actually seen... he may have fallen to 4th in the GP Player of the Year race because I don't know if Martin Juza won his 15th round in Utrecht.
That's what's going to decide that for Pascal.
Well, I mean, Juza was on 24 points. Pascal's on 26. Martin, I know, was playing to get to 12-3 going into round 15, but we've been busy watching the drafts. I haven't seen Martin's fate.
And well, Pascal's just starting his work day here. So let's see what he picks second here. Yeah, there's a Rusted Relic, a Cloud Elemental.
Glint Hawk.
And there's that Grudion as well.
Is this the Berserker pack? He's got a Mole Drifter, though, so he doesn't really want to go into Berserker.
At your seat, there is a deck list in front of you. Please do not sort your cards yet.
And it's Blinkmoth Nexus.
Right.
There's a lot of affinity cards in this pack.
But not really the super great ones.
No, I mean, Relic is good. Glint Hawk is important to the deck.
Glint Hawk is really important. That's a good point, actually. I shouldn't say that. Glint Hawk's great.
I mean, Affinity isn't like it has a couple of amazing cards and then a bunch of filler. It's like they're all solid. And like if you collect 18 of them, then you win.
Yeah, and here we go. So
Glint
we're
Hawk
in a
Idol.
similar spot. You know, we talked
Idol
about
over Relic
being in
is
your lane.
interesting to me.
Yeah, I think it is better. I think it's more important. It's also slightly more flexible. Somebody else is more likely to take it. But the interesting thing here is, does he get the Rusted Relic back, right? Like now we're in this question that we were talking about before about, you know, what lane are you in?
Well,
he's just planted his flag in the I want to be the blue-white affinity deck here.
Oh,
and
my.
Bang! Cranial plating.
He swings and connects.
Oh, the crack of the bat. That's unbelievable. Yeah. Third pick plating.
That is the best non-rare you can get for the Affinity deck.
So the only other question for Pascal is, does that Rusted Relic come back, right?
He'll take the Blinkmoth Nexus.
Sure. I just
Relic's more likely to
like that's the thing
you're right. You're totally right.
that he's wondering about now. Because if that comes back, he's great. He's in a good lane. This deck is very good. The blue-white Affinity deck has proven to be powerful. It's a good option to have.
Look, with third pick cranial plating, I'm not looking to audible. It's open enough.
Open enough for you?
It's like, there's 2 people on my right that are not drafting Affinity. Like, you don't pass cranial plating and then draft Affinity. It doesn't happen.
No, that's just not a thing.
So he knows there's no Affinity players on his right. I mean, if there's enough Affinity cards that you can cobble a deck together even if you're fighting one guy, as long as they're not on your immediate right.
See what he finds here.
Not much.
Nothing. Mana Leak, Stoic Rebuttal. There's a Crusher.
Copper Carapace?
How much mana does this Affinity deck make? The whole idea is to make not that much, right?
Yeah, you still wind up having to play like 16 lands probably.
No, but I just mean it doesn't like ramp out stuff, right?
No,
like
it can
outside
get
of
flooded
actual
at 4.
Affinity.
Like it's an aggro deck. It has to go to the air. Like the ground's going to get clogged up, and it can be hard to get through with your Rusted Relics. They're also cost 4, so you want Clint. He goes Mana Leak. Totally reasonable card. I mean, the evasion creature's important. Somber. You want your Somber Hover Guards to be cheap. You know, your Fairy Mechanist is nice.
Yeah.
I mean, Mana Leak doesn't have any particular synergy with the deck, other than it's just a good card.
I mean, it does seem well suited in this deck, though, because the deck tends to play out fairly aggressively, and Mana Leak really
you
works
sit back
well
and defend your stuff. Yeah, I mean, the only problem is it's not an artifact.
Right.
Like you have only half a dozen spots in your deck for non-artifact cards.
Yeah. And you're hoping that those are all dispatches.
Yeah, dispatch would be great. You'll settle for Sunlands. Aether Snipe.
There's a Cumulox.
Cumulox is, I don't know.
It's
I
just
find
okay,
it kind of
right?
expensive.
Yeah, I do too.
But wow, things have dried up since the cranial plating. What is he supposed to do with this pack? Yeah, he either takes Aether Snipe, Cumulox, or start speculating on another archetype. I don't like to speculate on another archetype when you're...
Yeah,
There's nothing here that's anywhere near as good as Cranial Plating.
Yeah, this is a tricky pick, too, because Aether Snipe's the better card,
Yes.
but Cumulox is a little bit signally. You know, he just wants to kind of take all the cards that say affinity on them
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that nobody else gets any ideas about it, but ultimately he's going to decide to just take the more powerful card here. Ugh.
Where are
What's
the
that at the back?
artifacts? He's fighting somebody.
This format's weird, man.
It is.
You pick your lane.
It's interesting.
And yeah, but then what? Right.
Right, yeah, I don't know.
But that's the question that I have about the format, because I think this part is pretty dynamic, right? It's like he's got a signal, he's moved in, but now it's starting to feel like maybe that signal wasn't quite as pure as it was
over Mana Leak
before.
number 2.
Yeah, and so where can you go, right? Like, where do you go with the cranial plating? You know, that's the question, and it's going to be fascinating to see how Pascal maneuvers
Smoke
through the
Raider.
rest of this draft. Is again,
He took
these-
that Aether Snipe. He could
He took the
sneak
Aether
into
Snipe.
Elementals, maybe?
I like
Oh, there's a
that.
Citadel.
Remember, he's
If he's on Affinity, you take Citadel here. Like, I want every Darksteel Citadel I can get my hands on if I'm actually the Affinity deck. It's good with plating. It's good with the Affinity cards. It's good for keeping Rusted Relic turned on.
totally.
Like, Audible into Elementals or take a Darksteel Citadel.
Looks
He's
like
going to speculate on Elementals.
I like that. Remember, he first picked Muldrifter also.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So he's got Muldrifter and Aether Snipe so far?
Yes, totally. And now
That
he's got
Soul
a
Soak
Smoke
doesn't come
Raider.
all the way over here, does it?
Good question. There's a Cloud Elemental, which is an elemental.
Yep.
There's
I mean,
also the Ashenmore Gouger, which is also an elemental.
The Affinity deck player would take Court Homunculus here. The Elementals player would take Cloud Elemental, I think.
Okay, so it looks like Maynard is now
Wait,
kind of
Ashenmore
hedging.
Gouger's an Elemental?
Yeah.
Oh, take that then, if
Yeah.
you're Elementals.
I think so too.
Man, so he took Smoke Raider over Darksteel Citadel, but then took Homunculus over good Elementals?
He is showing a little inconsistency here for sure. Here's another Cloud Elemental, though, for Pascal. So this was, Cloud Elemental is a pick that you can at least straddle both decks if you need to here.
It's not good in the Affinity deck.
No.
It's playable,
You
I
will
guess,
play it,
but I
yeah.
mean, it's... Wow. Yeah, he's fight. There's an Affinity player out there other than him. Yeah, Gorehorn Minotaur is... I mean, if he's Elementals, if he's red-blue, then he can play it.
Yep.
No particular synergy, just a good card.
And Randy, the incandescent Soul Stoke is here.
We thought Fennel was
With-
passing Elementals to somebody on his left.
Yeah,
it turns
they-
out he was
wait.
passing Elementals to somebody all the way on his right.
5 seats to his left, and he's going
or
to
two
take
to his
it.
right, as you prefer.
Yeah. So this does, to me, that's the sign.
Yeah,
Right.
done,
Like
done.
now,
I now have-
we're moving in on elementals.
Cranial plating's in the sideboard.
Yeah, he's got
That's
the
fine.
Soul Stoke. Yeah, that's fine. You can live with that. He's got the Soul Stoke. He's got a couple of elementals to cast. He's got one of the Smoke Raiders. I don't mind that spot. You know, if you have a really streamlined anything in this field, you're going
Yeah,
to be
he
fine.
wavered. My only hesitation is that he wavered with the Homunculus pick. He could have an Ashenmore Gouger.
Yeah, or a second
Or
Cloud
another
Elemental.
Cloud Elemental.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, like, I think he took the best card. He got a signal, so he moved in. Like, he even speculated Glinthawk Idol, got cranial plating, but somebody out there's fighting him pretty hard, so he moved into the right deck. He found the open lane. The interesting question is, like, how late can you move in,
Is it
right?
too late, right? I mean, he's
Because
already...
he switched twice.
Yes. Look, those picks at the back, the Court Homunculus, the Glinthawk Idol,
He's got
the
like
cranial
7.
plating, those aren't making the cut in this deck.
He's
got
got
1, 2,
7
3,
cards
4,
for his deck,
5, 6,
though.
7.
I don't think it was too late. I mean, it was pretty late, but like he randomly took that Aether Snipe, which left his options open. That was pretty smart, actually.
I like that pick.
Like he took the better
Because remember,
card.
it was over the Cumulux, which was
Exactly, exactly.
ostensibly better in his deck.
Yeah, he took
but-
the more flexible card.
Yes. And that is a huge payoff. That actually is probably the most important pick of his draft so far as where he's going to end up. Because that's
Yeah,
going to
Aether
be one
Snipe
of his
goes from
better
good
cards.
to great if you're Smoke Raidering it out.
Totally. Yeah, I'm really curious to see where this goes here. Now, if he has picked a lane that's open, then everything should go smoothly.
Oh,
He's
he
gonna
has.
Get a
I mean,
bunch.
he got Smoke Raider 5th, and he got
Yeah.
Soulstoke 7th, 8th?
9th, 8th, yeah.
Was it in his first pack? I don't remember it from the first pack, so I feel like he got it 8th, but
Yeah.
maybe he'd passed it once. But that Soulstoke went all the way around the table. We know Chris passed it.
Yep. All right, here
Now,
we go.
what does pack 2 have?
So if he
He
is
had another
assuming
place
that
where he'd
he's
rather open a
open-
Karn than an
Yeah.
Elishnorn.
Yeah. if he
Stand by my
does
claim that
assume-
Karn is the best card to open.
I'm an Elishnorn fan. Though I will say if I'm opening at pack 1, pick 1, colorless Karn has to be better. But anyway, here though, the interesting part is if he's assuming that he's the only elementals player, how brave is he? Right? Are you taking the good removal spell and shipping away the
Smoke
the
Braider,
smoke
yes.
raiders and stuff and just assuming that those are going to
Soul
come back?
Smoke? I don't know.
Yeah.
I would pass the Smoke Braider for a
for a bolt.
for even a burst lightning.
Yeah. Which one's better?
What do you mean?
Burst lightning or lightning bolt?
Lightning bolt.
Okay.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but lightning bolt.
4 is a lot.
Yeah, so it's 5 mana.
So this was part of the draft. Oh, overwhelming stampede is what Pascal's opened here. What else is in the pack, though? Aethercast Knight. Uh-oh, is he going to go back and forth again? No. Cloud Elemental. All right, so nothing jumps out for the Elementals deck specifically. He can take just another random Cloud Elemental, but he was getting those pretty late. Overwhelming Stampede, clearly the most powerful card in the pack, but he is miles away from green. And what is he doing looking at that Darksteel Citadel, Randy?
Vapor Snag's an option, too.
I like Vapor Snag a lot. He hasn't picked up much in the way of removal or ways to interact with his opponent's creatures yet.
Yeah, Vapor Snag.
I like that pick.
I do, too.
I mean, he doesn't.
Well,
right?
given
Think
the
of all
cards
the
that were in
great
that
things he
pack.
could have opened, in that pack. He starts off with so many great things, and instead he ends up taking a, mediocre
Solid player,
card.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, sure, it'll make the cut, but he was hoping for something a little more punch. And now an Ant Queen. Oh my goodness!
Whoever cut off green did some good work.
What was that
What was
last
in the back?
card?
Yeah, it was-
I saw Mana Leak, but
The thing behind it is also blue. Oh, it's just Wings of
his Wings
Elspeth.
of Elspeth. Yeah, no, that's not going to do it. Wow, these two
And
picks have
another
been
Vapor Snag.
terrible.
Do you need to take like a dorky 2-drop elemental?
The Flamekin there.
I mean, it's gonna come back.
That's the thing. Yeah, I mean, you could take Combust for your board. You could take. Is that a Nest Invader down there? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
the
just
green
a
players on his right are getting hooked up here.
second copy of Vapor Snag. You don't want too many of those.
I don't know that 2 is too many.
No, you just got to be. Court Homunculus.
Interesting.
Uh-oh. It looks like Pascal's really wavering here. These first two picks
yep.
have not hooked him up with anything really good in his 2 colors, so he's hedging back in the other direction. Okay, there's a Smoke Raider and a Repeal. So the obvious pick here would be the Smoke Raider, right? That's for his elemental stack.
Yes. I would take Smoke Raider here. I mean, you can see the case for Repeal. It's flexible. It goes into both the stacks. But I just feel like the elemental stack is open. Yeah, okay, fine. There aren't that many cards that are like, oh, I'm awesome in the elemental stack. So the fact that he went 2 packs without one is not an awful signal, and he winds up there. So Smoke Raider's the pick.
So he comes back now to the Smoke Raider. So we've got the.
It's not like that Court Homunculus. He was sacrificing some awesome elementals card. It was like
That's
Vapor
true.
Snag #2 was the best card for the elemental
true.
stack. Cathodian goes in both those decks. Darksteel Axe goes in both those decks. It's Chris's Tribal Flames.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Yeah, Cathodian.
Yeah, I think I would Cathodian here.
What about the axe? Do you like the axe?
It's fine. It's not particularly good in his deck.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of that card in general, but I agree. It's not amazing in his deck, though he does have a couple of Cloud Elementals, and
Yeah,
it turns
that's
it into
true.
quite a clock.
I'll buy that. He goes with the Axe. That's fine. I think Cathodian's underrated.
I do too,
3/3
man.
for 3 with no drawback?
Have you read that card? It's like it's
mean-
got upside.
I remember thinking the card was good back when Mana Burn still existed.
Yeah. No, I like Cathodian a lot. It's the colorless Plaxcaster Frogling. And still just not much for him. Skargan Firebird's fine. It's not an elemental, so he doesn't get to power it out. And if it were, that would
Or
be
pump it up.
great. Yeah.
Maybe you take Flamekin here. Yeah, I would take Soulbright Flamekin here.
He does need to start filling in those early slots.
Right. I mean, his 2-drop slot right now is just a pair of Smoke Raiders. He does have 1 Soul Stoke. He's got half the draft left to potentially even get a second one. Wow, he goes Vapor Stag number 2.
Okay. Well, he still doesn't have removal, so I suppose those Vapor Snags are going to play a big role for him. Here's a Mirror Enforcer, a Gust Skimmer, and a Court Homunculus just to play with his head.
Indeed.
Yeah, this draft has not gone well for Pascal overall. His deck is still wavering. It's not super powerful. He doesn't have enough playables yet. He keeps getting thrown these weird curveballs where it's like, no, I swear, Affinity is open. And then he takes another Court Homunculus or something, and then now, the next pack has a nice Elemental in it.
You want to know who else's draft is going badly?
Who's that?
The other Affinity player. The other Affinity player is like,
He just keeps randomly taking 1 Affinity card from every 3rd pack.
Right. Whoever that guy is, he's going to go back and watch the video on YouTube after the fact. He's shaking his fist at the screen right now.
Curse you, Pascal Maynard. Curse you.
Oh, Dispatch. Does he kill the Dispatch here? There's no card. There's another Soulbright Flamekin. He's going to take Dispatch.
He is. I can just tell. He's trying to figure out if he gets one of these cards back, what it might be.
May also be trying to triangulate where the Affinity... Oh, the Dispatch. The Affinity
Now, hold on.
fight.
Is he just playing it at this point? Like, is he just back in Affinity? Is he...
I think he might be.
White-red, half Elementals, half Affinity or something? Like, this deck is coming out very strangely here. Because he's taken multiple Affinity cards. He's taken like half and half out of the second pack.
Yep. All true. Those decks do not shuffle together very well.
Are Court Homunculus Elementals?
They are not.
Okay.
I don't think. They can't
I was
possibly be.
joking.
I mean, I don't actually know what their creature type is. Guess
I
the creature type is a fun game to play with Modern Masters.
Well, I would say it's Homunculus. Yeah, we got there.
Correct. Artifact creature Homunculus. Frogmite?
Yes?
He's back in.
Yeah.
That Rusted Relic did not come back in pack 1.
No. So what happened is...
you've got actual intel?
I got a little intel. GCB was down there checking out the scene for us.
Oh, there's Darksteel Citadel.
The player on Pascal's left was trying to force Affinity.
Oh, and Pascal cut him off.
And then moved into blue-red.
What?
Yeah, they're just fighting each other.
He and his neighbor both drafted the same 2 decks?
They cannot get each other into... there's 2 lanes here, and they've both got 1 foot in both.
No, they were both in the
they're
one
both
to the left.
weaving into each other's lanes.
So they both started Affinity, and then they both switched to blue-red.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. This is not how to draft nicely. They're trying. To their credit, they're working hard to get into the right lane.
It seems like they've chosen now. It took them a pack and a half, but now who is on Pascal's left? Is that Brian Tidwell, it looks like. Brian, I guess, has settled into blue-red, and Pascal is now settled into Affinity.
Well, we're almost all the way through pack 2.
Right, now if Pascal switches, Pascal's going to have 6 seats worth of blue-red coming to him in pack 3. He's also got 7 packs worth of artifacts coming to him in pack 3.
This is a really interesting little case study here, too, for this format, because Pascal, it took him a long time to finally figure out where he's at. He was really trying to read the table and doing a pretty good job of it, I thought, too. I thought moving into Elementals made a lot of sense when he did it.
Well, it's open on his right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Elementals is open on his right. We saw that super late Soulstoke.
Mm-hmm.
Man, how good would Brian Tidwell's deck do if Pascal had passed him late Soulstoke, late Smoke Braider?
Would have been unbelievable. Now they're both going to have 2 kind of middle range type decks here. But if they both open well in this next pack, right? If there's just a decent amount of stuff for their deck and they both stick to their guns, they'll be okay.
Shuffle all that.
We look at the first 7 cards for his Affinity deck. They're all Soulstokes and Smoke Braiders. So the real question here for Pascal, of course, is playables. You know, he's going to be scrounging a bit here for playables and trying to make sure that he tries to fill in any parts of his curve that he can here, and just hopes to hit enough cards to make a playable deck where he doesn't have to go too deep. You know, he still gets to play, though, the Mole Drifter, the Aether Snipe. Like, these are still going to make the cut even in his Affinity deck. And even if they're not perfect, I mean, the Mole Drifter's great, but, you know, they're still fine. The Cloud Elementals, we talked about that earlier, Randy. Like, that's not the card you want, but you can cast them. And Vapor Snake's probably quite good in that deck. He's got
you can get away with 1 foot in two different lanes if they overlap by a color. I mean, it's not ideal, but
you're just giving up
get
a
away
lot.
with it.
Yeah, but you can get away with it and still have a deck that can cast spells. And
you also, if you find the totally open lane, you can get 10, 12 playables out of a pack. I mean, every pack's going to have 1 or 2 cards for the Affinity deck.
Another cranial plating one time. Sure, Pascal would settle for.
And he doesn't know what we think we know. I mean, Gabe told us about Brian, who's sitting in between Pascal and Chris, but maybe there's a third guy, right? There could still be somebody on Pascal's right.
Absolutely.
That's in this fight.
You know, blue-white artifacts, the Affinity deck here, it's one of the most obvious decks.
I feel there almost has to be somebody else because he saw so little Affinity in Pack 1. He's got to be fighting more than just the guy on his left.
But he's open to Chimeric Mass here.
Sure.
That's great. That helps with his Affinity count. It's good in the early or late part of the game.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a bomb, but it's really solid.
It's good.
Cool. That's a nice pickup for him. Wow. Remember when he took that dispatch? And we were like, oh, no, yeah, it's looking a lot better now. Though,
we'll see.
I do wonder how many artifacts
if it dries up, look. He got cranial plating third, and then nothing. The Affinity cards fell off a cliff in the first pack after his third pick, cranial plating.
There's a Sickle Slicer, and there's a Fairy Mechanist. Oh, is that an Indomitable Archangel?
You take Indomitable Archangel.
Oh, heck yeah, you do.
I mean, the Metalcraft isn't even the point. It's just 4/4 flying for 4. With maybe the Shroud kicks in. And he actually will be able to turn the Metalcraft on pretty consistently, so making it hard to target his artifacts has value in addition. But even if you just ignore the Metalcraft, 4/4 flying for 4 is just great.
Yeah. That's great. So, you know, I was mentioning a minute ago that he had the Open Well. Ta-da! Chimeric Mass and Indomitable Archangel is quite nice.
Yeah, no, he could get something back out of that. He should get at least a Frogmite.
You were seeing that. You saw him count it out.
Yeah. I mean, the dream would be that no Affinity player and Mechanist comes all the way back, but I don't think he expects that to be true. Soul Eater, Arrest.
Arrest is great.
Mechanist.
He'd love to have a Mechanist, but I don't think you can pass an Arrest here. Right? Isn't the power level just too much higher?
It's a synergy format.
Yeah, and
I think
Fairy
it's
Mechanist
close.
is a card that he would really, really, really like to have multiples of even. He has none.
Binding Soul Eater's good too. Like,
totally.
I could imagine somebody feeling strongly about any of those 3 cards.
No, that's a good. Maybe Soul Eater's even just better than Arrest because it's an artifact. But he really does want Fairy Mechanist in this deck. This is a tough pick for Pascal. He's going to go with it. I definitely respect that pick. He wanted to take the other one, but he just opened, you know, better cards. Waxmane Baku's not a thing here. Spellskite, that's a great pickup.
Sure.
You know, I found that card to be a bit of an overperformer in Limited. Yeah.
It's not a superstar, but I mean, it's good.
God,
you definitely
it's
want
really
it.
good.
It's really good in artifacts, where it's also helping you.
I've just found it great overall.
Affinity.
Rashad says it's just a flag bearer. Anybody who's ever played against one of those would never call it just a flag bearer. No, a card's great. I mean, especially when you're doing the whole equipment thing, you're spending all this mana to equip. What is that, a Gust Skimmer on the front?
Mhm.
Another Aether Snipe. Oh, Glass Dust Hulk, though. And a Sunlance, which would certainly be a welcome addition. But I like that Hulk there,
Lots
I
of
think.
options.
Hulk's a nice finisher. It also cycles early if you just need to, you know,
It
kind
is
of get
5
through your
mana.
library.
Like I could
It
see the
is.
case for Sunlance here. Although I think I like the Glass Dust Hulk better. I don't like the Gust Skimmer here. It just feels like the power level is below the others.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm the same.
he's on 3 or 4 Court Homunculus though, so Gust Skimmer does give him a beatdown curve. Like I think he's looking at Glass Dust Hulk as like 5 mana. I don't want to play a 5-drop.
Yeah, then
I'd
cycle
rather have
it.
a 2-drop than Sunlance. Is that what you said?
No, then cycle it. Like you put it in your deck, it has such low impact. When you need a 5-drop, it's great. It's way better than Gust Skimmer's going to be. And if you
I'm
have it
just
in your
saying, I feel
opener-
like he's got a plan of being extremely aggressive. He's
Okay.
drafting this to be the most aggressive. I mean, you saw Court Homunculus was the card he started out by speculating on
that's
early.
true. That's true. And he has what, 3 or 4 of them?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Sickle Slicer, I think, is where I'd want to be then. That can get those Court Homunculi in late
Mm-hmm.
and also, you know, help make sure that you always have an artifact lying around the battlefield to get them going.
Carapace 4 to 5 mana leak. I don't think he's got so many creatures that he wants a Trumpet Blast. He's got a bunch of ones already. He's got the Darksteel Axe. I think this is.
He's already
Mana
got a
leak?
mana leak as well. Is Copper Carapace a thing here?
I mean, yeah, that's the best artifact. I was just saying he's got so many ones, and it's really expensive to equip. Just finding that 3 mana can be tricky, but that's what he went with.
And his shameful Cloud Elementals. he's got like 2 or 3 of these. I don't think Kite Sail's what the doctor ordered here. It is another artifact that does help get in a little extra damage, but it's fairly low impact.
He's going to wind up killing a Cloud Elemental rather than passing it to his. Yeah, the
He's
fight
going to
continues.
play it, right?
He might have to. I don't think he needs to, but
Look, if he wants to play Gust Skimmers and Court Homunculi, he's going to need as many artifacts as he can get. Fortify. You like that one here?
I mean, I don't know what
He's
I'm
not
supposed to
abusing
take
it.
above it.
You think it would make the deck?
No, I don't.
I don't think so either.
Things haven't gone that badly. Another Copper Carapace. Oh, the Frogmite. Yeah, take Frogmite for sure.
Is Frog
It's a
Might
very
any good in this
aggressive-
deck?
Well,
Remember in the last Affinity deck, it ended up being pretty low.
think about how aggressive Pascal has drafted it, though. Like, if it's ever going to be good in the Blue-White Artifacts deck, it's going to be good in this one with
Where he's
4
looking to
Court
just-
Homunculus and,
Yeah.
you know, Gust Skimmer over Glass Dust Hulk.
Conclave Phalanx, unlikely to make the cut here. He's just going to cut a random flyer.
Yeah.
Another Copper Carapace. You got to figure one's about as many as you want of those.
Interesting.
This is a crazy draft for,
It really
for
was.
Pascal. He was all over the map.
Formats like that sometimes.
I think so. Yeah, this is. I anticipated something
You
like
know, he
this
landed
too.
in a pretty good spot, though.
I think so.
Like, what deck was he going to... Wow, Thoughtcast next to last. What deck was going to be better for him there?
You know, I think he navigated his seat pretty
He
well.
might actually be in the best seat.
He
in the
could,
best
he could